In the 1950s, a man lighting a woman's cigarette at a dinner party was a standard social courtesy. Today, the same act is culturally unthinkable. During that same era, institutional racism was a visible part of the landscape. Explicit racial segregation, like this room rental sign, was both legal and socially acceptable in many communities. We tend to credit visionary politicians for reversing these norms, assuming they lead the public toward progress. In reality, lawmakers usually follow the public, reacting to shifts in opinion that have already occurred. Policy analyst Joseph Overton developed a concept to explain this reactive behavior. He called it the Overton Window. This window acts as a gauge for political viability. It represents the specific range of ideas that the mainstream population finds reasonable and safe to discuss. When a proposal sits inside the window, a politician can support it to gain votes. When it sits outside, supporting it leads to professional ruin. Historical change is dictated by this invisible, shifting boundary of societal tolerance, which moves long before a politician ever reaches the podium. Fringe ideas travel a 6-degree spectrum to become law. Starting in the radical tiers, an idea enters the Overton Window's acceptable tier when legitimized. Gaining support, it passes through sensible and popular, eventually becoming policy and exiting the window as the new status quo. A radical idea must survive this decades-long migration across the spectrum of public tolerance before lawmakers will dare to sign it into law. Advocates and activists often use social engineering tactics to actively force this migration rather than waiting for it to happen naturally. One strategy is anchoring, or the door-in-the-face technique. By proposing a deliberately extreme policy, advocates create a new radical baseline. This extreme anchor drags the entire window toward it. Suddenly, a previously fringe proposal looks moderate and sensible by comparison. Advocates also use sandwashing, framing a radical idea in moderate, common-sense language to help it slip into mainstream debate without triggering a backlash. The window also expands organically during times of cultural pluralism and technological growth. The range of acceptable viewpoints tends to broaden, allowing for more diverse debate. Conversely, during national traumas, the window rapidly shrinks. The range of acceptable thought narrows, and once debatable ideas are suddenly cast out. This window is an active battleground where opposing cultural forces constantly stretch and squeeze the limits of public debate. Joseph Lehman, who helped popularize the concept, describes the window as a neutral tool. Like gravity, it simply explains how ideas fall in and out of fashion, regardless of their moral value. We see the positive side of this tool in the civil rights movement, where activists successfully pushed the window until equality became mainstream. However, the same mechanics can be used to gradually normalize hateful or destructive ideologies by slowly pulling them into the range of acceptable debate. When politicians suddenly evolve their positions, they are usually repositioning themselves to stay upright on a shifting wave of public opinion. They are moving to stay inside the window. This explains the lagging nature of government. While public opinion moves at the leading edge of the window, the actual implementation of policy can take years to catch up. The real engine of change is the power to dictate what can be said out loud. The laws themselves are merely the final, lagging result of that power.